not exactly sure what kind of tracks these are. But Rod said, huh, I don't know if they're fox. They're small. Spaced apart. They go all the way up here. That's weird. Very spaced apart. And they go zigzag across the driveway. It's like really zigzag across the driveway. Rod even said they go up there. Huh. Rod even said they were on the on top of the car. So it's, I don't know. Very strange kind of tracks. They're very spaced out. And some go there. Some come here. They almost look like cat tracks. I don't know, maybe they're fox. But Rod said it jumped right up onto the windshield. He already cleaned the car off. But you can see them here too. And they go back in here. And over here. Probably in the wood pile because they're looking for mice. Huh. Interesting. Snowing again. So today is January 25th. It's Wednesday. Hi. Ground's uneven, so if I look like I'm drunk, it's because the ground's uneven. I haven't been drinking. It's too early for that. So the dogs have been really, I don't know what's going on with them, but Charlie must be in more pain, and he's been super grouchy, and then he can't stand Thorn or any of his energy whatsoever. So he lunges at him. Sometimes he's good, like he loves going out for walks. He'll sit by the door and he just loves being outside. But the problem is, because of the cold, it just goes right to his joints. And he just, and here, oh, possibly see the interaction here. Anyways, it looks like Thorn just taunts him and entices him, and anyways. And last year, around this time, I started getting migraines, and I mean I've had migraines off and on throughout my life, and they're usually like a one-day thing, but last year it increased to 2 to 3 days, and I had a broken tooth, so I actually thought I contributed it to that, and I got that fixed, and now I'm having inner ear. I had this last year as well. Vertigo, inner ear, dizziness, nausea. Then sometimes that would bring on a migraine, or the opposite. The migraine would bring on the vertigo, and that's exactly what's happening this year too. And it was right after I went for a walk, 5-kilometer walk with a friend. I came home, I had a headache, and I didn't nurse it as I probably should have, And I found last year if I had my hair up and didn't wear a hat, it was almost instant that I would get an earache and then the vertigo or a migraine or whatever. And so I'm making sure this year, as you can see, I have the wrap, and this hat actually even has like the insulation in there, and like I make sure that I have my ears covered, sometimes doubly covered, and that's why you see me always wearing a toque. Always. It's very rare that I'm not wearing some sort of hat in the winter anyways, or in the cold temperatures. So I mean, I do the natural things that I know I need to do, and I mean, it's different. It's different living up here as well. We don't take the long hot showers that we used to, you know, a nice long hot 10-minute shower up here. Our water on demand is in our shed, which isn't the warmest place, and so we get spurts of warm water, and for the most part our showers are lukewarm to cold, and at times freezing cold in the winter. And so I don't know if like my inner ears, I'm not draining the way I normally would, and so it's building up, and then the cold, I'm not sure. The only thing that really seems to help is either candling my ear, which I know some people don't agree with. I think it's whatever, but it works for us. And I also try to keep, I put peroxide in my ear. I lay down and I let it stay in there for about 10 to 15, sometimes 20 minutes. And then get up and get out what I can. Oh, thorns. Found some more scat. Are you eating a scat popsicle there, Thorn? Thorn! And I know it's scat because it's gray. Huh? And it's not a mouse. I'd rather it be a mouse. Thorn! Thorn! Get back here. Come on. Let's go. Obviously, I switched over doctors because I hadn't had a doctor yet, so... But I can't get in until March. So I gotta nurse this until then, and hope that it doesn't get as bad as it did last year. But as soon as the nicer weather comes, they go away. And so I don't know if it's the change in the pressures up here and the colder temps. But if anybody knows anything about that, I don't know anything about it. I'm trying to research and I'm not really finding anything. Just inner ear problems or inner ear infection. It's not an infection because if I treat it with the peroxide, it goes away. But then it comes back. It is Thursday, January 26th. What are you barking at? You barking at your brother? What are you smelling? You smell something? He doesn't normally bark down here. He's sniffing the air. What do you smell, bud? What do you smell? Traffic's backed up. Maybe he's smelling that. It's a beautiful, very cold, sunny day. That's one thing I have to say. At least when it's really cold, for the most part, we get some really beautiful sunny days. And the sun just warms everything up amazingly. You find some more scat, buddy? keeps going back to that spot. That's where he keeps finding the scat. And then he brings a piece with him.
So we're all cuddled up in bed. Good morning. Our fire went out last night. So currently it's like 7 degrees in here. Everybody's cuddling because it's cold. Oh, and I forgot to mention, it's -30 outside. To do your thorn moan. So we're just snuggling in bed, getting warm while the fire finally gets heated up and the temperature in here gets warmer. Brr!
Oh, we're getting the temp up a little bit in here. 11.2. Yes, I know. You'll see the 22. That's actually the shed. We should go sleep in the shed. And the second one is -31.2. That's outside. And unfortunately, the -8.8 is the mudroom. Well, 11 o'clock, and we finally got it up to 18 in here. Gotta go turn the heater down in the shed now that it's actually warmed up to -12.5 outside. And once it gets a little bit warmer in the house, we'll be opening up this door to get it warmer in there. So I was just out here. I brought some hot water for the girls. And I saw a couple of chickens fighting. And then I noticed this little lady over here. I don't know what she thinks I have, but anyways. She has been pecked at. So I gotta get a hold of her, and I'm gonna clean her up as best I can. And because the other chickens will go at her if they see that she has a wound there. So I gotta get her cleaned up. I'm gonna use hydrogen peroxide and some cotton and hopefully be able to get her cleaned up. Come here, little lady. Alright. I got everybody else pecking at me here too. It's okay, baby. Oh, man. They got you good. Yeah, they got you good. Ugh, poor girl. We'll just get it cleaned up as best as we can. Will you, girl? Who did this to her? This goes to show you, hens can be very, very nasty to each other. Hey, you go on. Everybody thinks it's food. Hey! Hey! No! She stole it. Go on! Stop pecking at me. Go! probably you in the first place. Poor little thing. Go on. They think everything is food. They found something over there. He's so distracted. They got you good, that's for sure. They dumped the water. They just go running when they dump the water, don't they? Alright, well, you know, little lady, that looks not very good. I'll have to clean it tomorrow too, I think, hon. You go on. Am I nice and warm? Am I nice and warm? Ah, she's still bleeding. Well, girl, that's gonna have to be okay for now. I didn't bring enough cotton. Do you want to go? Go on with you. Well, it's another cold one, and I've been out twice now to give them some hot water. So, as you can see, I've got five chickens out right now. This poor little one, this is the one that has the injury on her comb there. You can see, it looks like she's getting some frostbite, unfortunately. This little one, actually, you can tell, is the bottom of the pecking order. I kind of favor her a little bit just because she's always off on her own, and she's always getting picked on. And then the rest of these guys are just hanging out in here in the coop. Just because this is the warmer area, they're gonna be, there's two in that box over there. But they're going to be laying eggs and stuff, and probably not too many today, just because it's so cold. They're going to stay in here and won't get the same daylight. But just goes to show you that even though they have feathers, they still get cold. But these ladies are so puffed out and feathered that you can tell that they're definitely warmer. This poor little lady. I feel so bad for her. I wish I could do more for her. But I do have one egg I'm going to grab before it gets broken or frozen. And it just happens to be... Are you sitting on somebody? No. Are you laying an egg? They're still laying. Got one here. All right. Hopefully you guys can stay as warm as possible. I gotta get the dog in. Come on, Thorny. I don't want his paws to get frostbite. And Charlie really wants to come out, but he doesn't understand. Once he gets out, then he's really cold, and that just exacerbates his pain. So it's a beautiful sunny day, but don't be deceived. It's -30 plus the wind chill on top of that. I think it was -33 the last I checked. So I can't even keep my gloves off for too long. So it's going to be a mostly inside day, coming out to check on the chickens and bring them more hot water, making sure that their water's not freezing. But I got to go in because my fingers are about to get frostbite, so it's cold. So with it being so cold, I'm trying to make my chickens as comfortable as possible. And you've seen how they don't even want to come out of the coop. And that just, it kind of breaks my heart. So I want to give them a bit of a treat. And so I've decided to make them some hot oatmeal. And one of the things I know that helps with keeping them warm, chili peppers, cayenne powder, and I can't find my cayenne powder for some reason in all my spices, but anyways, I do have hot chili flakes, so I'm going to make them a big pot of oatmeal, and it will be hot oatmeal with some chili flakes in it, and I'll probably add some cinnamon and stuff, and this helps with blood circulation, which will also help with keeping them warm. So I'm gonna make some oatmeal for my chickens. So I just have my water heating up. I have a few spices in there already. There's a little bit of turmeric and some other stuff. That's why it's orange. So I'm just waiting for the water to boil to add the quick oats, and I'll add the rest of the stuff when it is done and take it out to my chickens. So some of you may not know that chickens don't have the ability to taste that hot spice. So I literally am making hot oatmeal. Spicy hot oatmeal. But it actually is beneficial for them because it increases that circulation, but doesn't cause that hotness in their palate, for their palate. So just a little tidbit there. So while I'm on that subject, I want to talk a little bit about how we do keep our chickens warm in the winter. The very first thing I can think of is making sure you have a hardy breed of chicken. We got ours at a local feed mill that brings the chickens in from Manitoba, which is a very similar environment. So making sure you're getting the right breed. Now the chickens that we have, they feather out really well. They are more like a wild bird when it comes to the environment and being able to adapt. Now, no matter what, just like a dog, there's certain breeds that are more adaptable to colder climates, but there are still elements that you have to be very aware of. Their feet still get cold, so you have to make sure you're getting really good bedding down as well. So, and that's one of the other aspects that help keep our chickens warm is we use the deep litter method. And so with that, we put down wood chips, or we don't use wood chips, but wood shavings, and it's not sawdust, it's like wood clippings. And that soaks up the moisture, and that leads to another aspect. And then we put down straw and hay. Now, when I talked about the moisture is the biggest thing. You have to make sure you're keeping your animals as dry as possible, because it's the moisture that actually causes the majority of the issues with your birds. They can get respiratory problems, they can get frostbite, as you've seen on one of my little ones there that gets basically bullied. She's the lowest on the pecking order there. We do have the nice run that is allowing a lot of sunshine to come in, and that also helps with the laying of the eggs, because it is mostly the light that affects the amount of quality of laying. Sometimes it can be the temperatures as well, just because it's a stress on the birds. But in the extreme cold, I'm finding it does. But just because it's below 0, I'm still getting at least a dozen or more eggs on a daily basis from my girls. Another big thing is making sure that you're keeping your birds hydrated. I know you see me taking boiling water out to my birds on a regular basis. Now, especially in these temperatures, I've already gone out twice and it's only 11 o'clock. I actually went out twice before 10 o'clock. So, and I usually try to let them out around 8:30 to 9:30, in between there. Now, this morning they did not want to come out just because it was so cold, as you saw. So that is a major thing, making sure that I'm taking them out hot water so that they are hydrated at least 2 to 4 times a day, depending on the temperature. Now, today I'm most likely going to be going out just because the water's going to be frozen. That's just the way it is. So I'll have to take out some more boiling water to combat that so that they can stay hydrated. Most of the time they dump it and then they actually take it off the floor of the run for some reason. And then they end up having nothing, because once it's on the floor, then it tends to freeze quicker. One of the things with moisture, you have to make sure that you have a well-ventilated coop. So during the day, the girls spend almost all of their time in the run. So that's well ventilated and they get all of their daylight, their sunlight in the run. But in the coop, that's where they sleep. You have to make sure that that area is also well ventilated and that you have the least amount of moisture in there as possible, because the temperatures at night get to extreme lows here. But right now, we're in the mid-negative 30s, and with the wind chill, we're getting up pretty close to in the negative 40s. So, if not in the negative 40s. So you really have to be watching and keeping an eye on them and preparing the coop for these temperatures, especially at night. One of the things I don't do is I don't keep water in the actual coop. The water, they don't need it at night. The water's kept in the run only during these temperatures. One of the other things is preventing drafts, especially inside the coop. And we have ventilation, but our coop is an old aluminum shed. So there's no wind coming through there that's going to be causing the drafts that would affect the chickens. Now, there are drafts that come through the run, but we have it covered in polytarp, and you still need airflow and ventilation as well in there. So it's just trying to do both as much as you can. You don't want to be stopping the airflow by any means. So it's your own judgment when it comes to that. We also have straw bales around the outside of the coop
to also prevent drafts, and it's a very good insulation as well. We have it around the base of the coop as well as the majority of the run except for the south facing side. One of the other things we do is we try to keep them well fed. As you see, I'm taking them out some nice hot oatmeal. Making sure that they have a lot of protein to be producing the eggs, but also because of the cold, you want to make sure they have lots of carbohydrates as well. So trying to find a good quality corn, it might be hard because almost all corn is GMO, but if you can find a local farmer who grows their own without GMO, then that's a huge benefit. Unfortunately, that is not something that we have up here for the most part, so I do buy from a local mill. Another thing is making sure that they can roost and having a perched area for them so that their feet are not on the ground or on the floor of the coop or the floor of the run. If they can only be on the floor of the run, make sure you have some really good moisture absorbing litter, as well as putting down some straw or hay for them to be, and fresh straw and hay, so that they can actually go out onto that. Another thing, if you do not have a covered run, I know chickens do not like snow, so they're not going to go outside if they're free run, or free ranged. So you do have to lay down some sort of litter or hay or straw outside for them to be attracted to even go outside, because the snow gets really cold on their feet. Another thing is keeping them active. We've used the cabbage piñata for keeping them active, as well as we sometimes throw down some hen scratch, and we also sometimes just put their food on the ground so that they have to scratch and stay active in getting it. So I hope some of our tips actually helped you to consider ways to keep your chickens warm in frigid, harsh Canadian winters. Okay, let's go, buddy. Off to put the chickens in. This is another way we keep them warm. We try to get out here as soon as we know that they'll be in, and get that little door closed. That's another way that we can try and keep the heat in the coop as long as possible. Hey babies. I'm glad I put that down for her. This is a little one that always is off on her own. And she actually happens to be the one that's injured as well. Everybody else is up on the roost, huddling together, keeping warm. Good night, ladies. I have to admit, even though those little salt bottles don't keep it from totally freezing, it doesn't keep it from totally freezing. So I'm able to dump it out at night. It's not a solid piece of ice. And then in the morning I can give them fresh, boiling hot water, which is a huge benefit because it was so hard to get the blocks of ice out of those bowls. So I'm keeping doing it because it's actually helping me in these frigid temperatures. It's crazy. And it allows me the time to actually come out before it totally freezes and give them more hot water. So I think it's definitely a benefit to do it. Time to go inside and warm up. Chickens are in. Time to relax. And don't forget, life's too short. Take any adventure that you can.